Hi everyone, welcome. I'm super happy to be here. This is also my very first talk, so be kind. Today I'm here to lead you into how you can become a contributor to React Native as well. And we are going to use Codegen as a working example for this. But first, a couple of words about myself. I'm Riccardo. I'm a software engineer at Meta. I'm a mobile engineer. And as Nicola was saying before, I'm an iOS engineer as a background. I'm working within the React org on React Native Core, and especially with everything that is open source related. There you can find my contacts, like my GitHub, my LinkedIn, my Twitter. I don't tweet that much, so don't expect like many updates from my profile. And also my Medium blog, where I usually wrote about iOS and Swift stuff. So if you're interested, I will love to hear your opinion on those articles. So, talking about React Native and contribution. React Native is an open source project. Who would have guessed that? And is actually one of the biggest ones. It has like 109,000 stars, more than 25,000 commits. It has 2,500 contributors over the years, and is used by 1.3 million of users. So numbers are crazy. Also, it has 1.3 million downloads weekly from npm.js. So again, very widely used. Every change that we made reached the hands of a huge amount of people. But who is using React Native? And to quote Lorenzo, that was saying before, that read on Reddit or on Twitter, I don't remember, that React Native is dead, but at least someone said that. Well, it's not. Apart from the usual suspect, so Meta is using that, as Nicola was saying. We use it in the Facebook app, we use it in the Oculus app, and in other apps internally. But also, Microsoft is one of the major users of React Native. Microsoft is also maintaining React Native Windows and React Native macOS that also Meta uses for other apps. But not just big players, like also other developers are using that, our framework. And if you are an indie developer or a smaller company and you are using React Native in your company for your apps, we will love to hear from you, like your stories, your success story, why are you using that, what's working, what's not. And if possible, we will love to showcase you in our website. And yeah, this is the showcase page that Nicola was mentioning before. And yeah, it's a big framework. It's very widely used, but you should not be scared about like making contribution to React Native. And today, I hope I can help you understand why you should not be scared. There are several ways in which you can contribute, and I'm not just talking about code. You can contribute on the website. There are several ways, like you can try out our guides, and if you find something that is not working, point it out, open an issue in the React Native website repository, or even directly open a pull request against this repository on GitHub, and we will merge that if like it's good and makes sense and everything passes on CI. Another way where you can contribute to React Native is by building a library. Let's say that you have a use cases that you think can benefit from other people in the community. We have a guide in the website that explains how you can build, like you can package your library in an npm package and to publish it. Also, we have this React Native directory website that tracks all the libraries in the React Native ecosystem. Right now, I take this image on Friday, and it's 1,233 libraries, but I didn't check today, but it's probably already increased. There is another way that you can contribute by helping us triaging all the issues that we have. As you can see, we have 1,700 more issues. We used to be above 2,000 a few months ago. Like, the React Native team is not that big, is not as big as you can imagine. So it's a struggle also for us to keep up with all these issues. So if you can, I don't know, jump on some of them where you have knowledge and answer for us, like, well, it would be very helpful for everyone, not just for us, like keeping up with the issue, but also for all the people in the community. Finally, you can contribute by writing code. React Native is composed of several languages, so whichever is your experience, your background, we are pretty sure we can find some way in which you can contribute. Also, we are trying to making it even easier. Like, we are creating these special issues that are marked with this umbrella because we call them umbrella issue. They are not issues in the sense that there is a problem that someone wants to point out and wants the React Native team to fix it. They are basically a collection of tasks that we ask the community for help, where we can collaborate all together in order to make our framework better. Improving Codegen will be our working example for today. So we'll use that specific umbrella issue to walk you through the structure of them. And a fun fact about these specific issues that we open it in October. I'm sorry that like the screen is cutting the date, but in October there is also an event that is called Hacktoberfest. And if you contribute to at least like 4 PR in any repository that is participating to the Oktoberfest, the organizer will award you with a badge that you can put in your profile. And of course, this helps your resume, your CV, may give you, I don't know, better opportunity to find another job if you want to change. So yeah, we're trying to help you even in that way. So umbrella issues are a way that we are trying to use to also explain how the internals of React Native works. Specifically, there is a first section that is a description of like the problem that we're going to tackle together. In this case, it explains what is Codegen, how it works. It is composed of like a parser folder and the generators. Parser takes the specs in JavaScript that you are writing. They create a schema in a JSON file that is fed into the generators, and generators create a bunch of boilerplate for your components and your modules. The code output is in different languages. We are outputting C++, Objective-C++, and Java. The second part of the umbrella issue is how you can test your code. It's extremely important for us that the code that we land on main is well tested, because the changes will also affect the internal code base at Meta. And so we are trying to provide as detailed as possible information for you to test that autonomously. The last part is, of course, the list of tasks. We have also some information on what we expect for like anyone that wants to contribute. So how you can claim a task, how long we think is reasonable to wait before a PR is open. All this information are basically in this section, which is followed by the list of tasks. I pick a small like sample of them. Some of tasks have been already assigned and executed by some people. You can see that we are like recognizing the effort that people are putting in with their handle and the commit where the thing has landed. And there are also tasks that are open up for grabs if anyone wants to take them and work on them. And as you can see, like we have already created like 80 in this slide, 88, but as of this morning they were 119 tasks. So there is like a lot of stuff to work on if you want to. But how all of these are rolled in practice. And now we're gonna like be kind of a sort of a demo, but it's not a real demo. So the first step is to claim a task from the umbrella issue. What you usually do, you go to the website, to the issue, you scroll until you find something that you actually like. So for this example, we're gonna take issue 104. Spoiler, you will not find this issue in the website, it's for this presentation only. But all the issues contains all the tasks are self-contained, quite small, so that you can take them with confidence. Like, we are not asking anyone to take a task that is a full refactor, for example. They're small, you can test them locally pretty fast, and you can move on. There are also usually a lot of links, if you need them, that can show you the code that you're going to touch. So in this case, if we click on the 2 links, we will see that we have a flow, some code written in Flow and some code written in TypeScript. And as you can see, they are extremely similar. Like, the only thing that changed is how Flow and TypeScript model the nodes and how to retrieve the next node to be computed. So what do? We add a comment in the issue. Hey, I want to work on task number. And someone, in this case myself, and I will assign the task to you. This will materialize in like the task has been assigned to your handle, and then you can start working on the task. If it's the first time that you contribute to React Native, there is a small extra step that is forking the repo. So to fork the repo is pretty easy. You go to the GitHub, Facebook, React Native website. There is the fork button here. You fill all the details to create a new fork. Remember to put yourself as a owner, if it's not like that by default, and then you create your fork. So GitHub should navigate automatically to your specific fork, and if you see in the, for you, it's top left corner, you will see your username / React Native, which means this is your personal fork of React Native on which we'll work on. Next step, you clone the repo. Again, you have to do this only the first time that you start working on that. So you clone the repo, and you navigate to the folder. You run yarn because you will need all the dependencies to actually test your code, and then you are ready to roll. To write the code, we, even internally at Meta, we use Visual Studio Code, and we strongly suggest you to do the same, especially if you develop stuff in JavaScript, like what we are going to do for this speech. And, well, it has a lot of add-on and packages that you can put inside Visual Studio Code to help you writing your code. We can toggle the terminal, and we can look for the file that we need to edit. In this case, for example, the flow/utils.js, which was one of the files mentioned in the task. And it will navigate to the exact same code that I showed you before. The next step will be to actually implement the changes that the task requires. So in this case, we are basically extrapolating the code that we need to unify between Flow and TypeScript in this function that is handle and declaration. It has the same name, the same code that we saw basically in the slide, with the addition of the parser parameter. The parser is an abstraction that we created inside the Codegen to abstract away from the Flow language and the TypeScript language. In this way, we can share the exact same code for the 2 languages without knowing about the details of how they work. And then, of course, we need to update the call size. So before, we had the raw object return. Instead, in this case, we are using the function that we just created. After writing the code, we need to test it. And here we can get back to the instruction that we share in the umbrella issue itself. To test Codegen and JavaScript in general, we use Jest as a testing framework. And we can run all the tests by running yarn jest React Native Codegen. This will start the test suite that we have already implemented. And as you can see, Codegen is quite well tested. We have more than 2,500 tests and more than 50 test suites. So we are pretty confident that our changes that were just a small refactoring will not break anything. Okay, so we write our code, and we are ready to create our first PR in the repository. But first, a quick heads up on some advanced use of Jest. There are these watch command flags that you can add at the end of the command. This will start a daemon that will loop into your file system, and so every change that you apply to your files will run the tests that are that may be affected by your changes. So you don't have every time make a change, run jest, make a change, run jest. No, just run jest once with --watch, and you can start coding. And every time you save your files, all the tests will be executed. So it's a boost in productivity. To open a PR, we first have to commit our changes. So we create a new branch, and the important part here is to try to follow this convention if you can, where you put your handle / the name of the branch. This will be very helpful for you when you look through like all your branches and see what you're working on. Actually, all the branches of React Native, and immediately you will pick up your changes or your branches if you have to switch between branches. Then we add our files, we commit, and we push to our branch. Now that we have a new branch in our fork, we can open a PR. If we move to like our fork of React Native, GitHub is smart enough to understand that a new branch has been pushed, and so suggests you, hey, do you want maybe to open a pull request with your most recent changes? And by clicking on compare and pull request, it will automatically open the form to create one. And if you see here, it's already pointing toward the original core React Native repository on the main branch. So also this step has been automated for you by GitHub. You can just fill out the details, so the title, which is automatically filled with your commit, and a template that we provide in order to leverage some automation. So we fill in our details with the summary, copying the task body basically, and we add this changelog line that is useful for us and for our tooling in order to automatically create the changelog, so we don't have to do it manually. And like nice information, fun fact, factoid. The last release of React Native was 1,000 commits. Lorenzo, check me on that, more or less. So you can imagine if we don't have automation to do the changelog manually of 1,000 commit, it will be crazy hard. And then as a test plan, we just put there an image of we running our tests locally. We can also preview our pull request, and we can open it as a draft. When we open a PR against the main repo, even as a draft, we have a good CI system that checks a lot of stuff for you. In this case, I made a small mistake. Danger is complaining because, I messed up something. By looking at the errors, I can see, again, sorry for the line crossing in the middle of the screen, that I forgot to run prettier. React Native comes with a lot of tools and scripts already built in, and you can look them up in the package.json under the script section. And you can just run them with yarn, name of the script. And in this case, it will also change some of my files in order to be coherent with the rules of prettier that we established. We update our changes, and then CI will run again. In this case, let's say we can see that all the checks have passed, and so it's time to ask for a review. To ask for a review, we first need to mark our pull request as ready to be reviewed, and then an optional step would be to select a reviewer from the list of reviewers. Why is it optional? Mainly because we have tooling internally that ping us whenever a new pull request is open against the repository. So if you're not in a hurry and you can wait maybe one day, someone will jump on your pull request at some point. But yeah, if you're in a hurry, you can ping us directly. When the usual review process, like net engineer or even another person from the community will review your code, suggest some changes, you update your code. At some point, eventually, your pull request will be approved. And at this point, your job is done. At this point, the ball is in a meta field, unfortunately, or luckily, it depends how you want to see it. And a net engineer will have to import your pull request inside the internal system. Here we have to basically wait to see that all the internal tests are passing, but when this happens, we landed the change, which why is not moving to the next slide. Okay, and you will see your change as the first commit in the repository. And that's how you become a React Native contributor. So I already talked a little bit about how you can contribute, but it's not just that. There are also other opportunities, and other opportunities will materialize in the future. Well, one of these is the improving Codegen umbrella issue, which, as I said, this morning I uploaded some more tasks. So if you want to try it out and try to contribute, there will be some very self-contained tasks for you to try. Another way that you can start coding inside React Native is by looking for the good first issue label. Here there are a bunch of issues, not that many currently, but more will come, that are, again, self-contained. They do not belong to any umbrella issue, but they share a similar structure of what I just showed you. As I said, React Native is not just the core framework. It's an ecosystem of a variety of tools and libraries, so you can find opportunity to contribute there as well. CLI is one of the tools that we use to create a new React Native application and to run some other utility scripts, basically. And you will find probably in the next future some umbrella issues or similar kind of effort here as well. And as Nicola was saying in his presentation, it's not just coding. We also have RFC, discussion, and proposal that you can participate to, especially if you may feel like you have more architectural kind of experience, or if some years that you don't code, but you still want to share your ideas. As this year is showing, we listen a lot about the community. We try to integrate all the changes and suggestions that you may have, and we will love to hear your ideas, basically, on how we can evolve the framework and how we can improve it even further. So did I convince you to contribute to React Native or not? Thank you very much for being here.